All right, okay. So this is me, I'm Karen. I manage the Sustainability Scholars Program. And for those of you that have maybe been emailing me or participated in the program before, you'll be familiar with my name and now with my face. Today, the purpose of this meeting is to give you an overview of the Sustainability Scholars Program, how it works, what to expect, and how to apply. And after I do some talking, I have some guest speakers who will talk about their experience in the program from their perspectives. So I have funding partners and former scholars to speak to you today as well. And then at the end, I'll open the floor to questions. So for now, if you could hold off on asking your questions until we get through all of the details. A lot of the things I'll be talking to you about are things that scholars have inquired about in the past. But before I go any further, I'd like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which the UBC Point Grey campus is situated is the traditional ancestral unceded territory of the Musqueam people who have served as its caretakers since time immemorial. I also want to acknowledge that I'm hosting this presentation from my home on the traditional and unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations, also known as Vancouver. And I'm super grateful to be able to live and work on this land. And I do acknowledge my responsibility as an uninvited guest to learn more about the impacts of colonization and to participate in acts of decolonization and reconciliation whenever possible. And I think that this responsibility to understand and take action is particularly important in any conversation about sustainability and climate action, which is the kind of conversation that we're going to have today and what you would embark on if you become a scholar. So just a little bit about the background of the program. It started out as a collaboration with the City of Vancouver to support their Greenest City Action Plan goals in 2010. Due to the success of that program, we expanded the program to the Sustainability Scholars Program in 2014 when funding partners like BC Hydro and Vancouver Coastal Health joined us. And then as time went by, Metro Vancouver joined us, and many other organizations come back over and over again to participate in the program. So this summer, this will be our 25th, or sorry, our 15th summer cohort in 2024. I now have 65 projects available, so a few more were added just the other day. So that will bring us to a total of 745 projects since 2010. And that is looking at like over 186,000 hours worth of graduate student time has gone into helping move and advance sustainability across the region. So the purpose of the program is to develop UBC grad students as future employees in sustainability related careers. The program also supports UBC's role as a catalyst for transformational change at the community and regional levels. Plus, scholars produce really important work that's helping to shift the dial on sustainability and climate action across the region. Then as a participant in the program, some of the obvious benefits are that you gain practical skills and experience in applied sustainability research. You're paid. And we also provide you with professional development opportunities in the areas of project management, writing skills, public speaking, and other things. Plus, it allows you to round out your resume while developing a really useful professional network that can assist you in your future job search. Many scholars have also provided feedback on how rewarding the mentor-scholar relationship can be. And a lot of scholars talk about how valuable it is to bring what they're learning in the classroom into the real world and to bring what they're learning in the real world back into the classroom and know that they're working on a project that's going to advance something in the area that they live in. These projects don't sit around and collect dust. So this, most of you have probably read through the list of opportunities. So I'm sure that you noticed we have a lot of very interesting and significant projects available this summer. This slide is just a representation of many of the partner organizations that are participating this year. So many are with local governments, such as the City of Vancouver, Richmond, Vernon, Kamloops, Nelson, Surrey, City of New West just put forward a project. And we have many projects with nonprofits like the Rivershed Society of Watershed Watch, a local health authority, so Vancouver Coastal Health and Fraser Health are participating, TransLink, there's First Nation government, and many other organizations, a few UBC departments. So lots of great opportunities here. I'll also talk really quickly about these two clusters of projects that we have this year. There are the Fraser Estuary Research Collaborative projects and the Embodied Carbon projects. My guest speakers will provide more information about these initiatives in a few minutes, but I do want to highlight that they have some specific requirements. So if you are interested in any of the Fraser Estuary projects, the FERC projects, you do need to be located in the Lower Mainland and able to attend FERC events in person. And then if you are choose a Pathways project, just note that there will be some additional requirements to participate in knowledge exchange and events. But these events do take place online, so the local requirement isn't as stringent. So how the program works. So just to kind of reiterate what you'll be doing. So the project description does give you an outline of the goals of the project and the activities that you'll be undertaking. But at a high level, participating in the project means that we do see you as the project manager of your work and the person doing the work. So you are responsible for the quality of your work, the timely submission of your deliverables, your work planning. So there's lots of opportunities for you to work independently and collaboratively while developing skills and experience. But I do want to flag and make the distinction between academic research and what you're doing. So this is applied research. We've chosen projects that are going to be close to immediately actionable. Once they're completed, they're not going to be collecting dust. And so they're just a little bit different than academic or primary research. So the program runs from May 1st to August 15th. During that time, you would be hired as a UBC student employee as a GAA, and you would work on a part-time basis for a minimum of 250 hours. There are a few projects that are more than 250 hours, and that is noted in the time commitment section of the job posting. For a 250-hour project, you will receive $6,875, which works out to $27.50 an hour. And obviously, you would make more for the projects that require more hours. So if you have any restrictions on your permit, these projects or this job counts as on-campus work if you have any study permit restrictions. Also, you will be working under the guidance of a mentor at the partner organization. So there's lots of good support for you at the project level and at the program level. You'll also have check-ins with me, which I'll talk a little bit more on the next slide. I also want to note that we do recognize that you may have other things planned over the term of the internship. So you may have other courses, childcare, you might want to take a break, you might have another job. So that's totally fine. We understand that. Please bring these up during the interview so that you and your mentor can sort of understand what availability you have to work with. And if you're offered a position, you and your mentor will sort of negotiate how you distribute and work those hours. But the required hours are the ones that are posted in the job. So I'm talking here about how you actually deploy and use those hours. And then you have some obligations to UBC and to the project. So for UBC, you do need to attend some mandatory meetings and you need to produce a set of deliverables. The meetings will be noted in the offer letter, and the deliverables for most projects are listed in the description. But some of the key ones are, we're going to have an orientation on April 15th or May 1st. We'll have a mid-project check-in the week of June 24th. You have to complete a project plan. And I guess this is stating the obvious, but you do need to produce really good quality work and meet the deadlines. And we encourage you to engage with the cohort and enjoy yourself. And then you do submit a final report and it goes into the online project library. I do encourage you to take a look at the library so you can see the kind of work scholars have done in the past. And then we ask you to present your work at a wrap-up conference in September. And then your obligations to the project or to the project mentor. So your mentor may have additional requirements over and above this final report, and it can be presentation, toolkits, maps, policy drafts, all those kinds of things. It's quite wide ranging across all the projects. But in virtually all cases, as I mentioned, you're going to be doing some applied research. And yeah, and again, as before, we're expecting you to bring your energy and passion to the project, to engage with the mentor and their organization, and to really bring your best effort to completing a good quality project and completed it on time. And then we do offer you some professional development opportunities. So there are various workshops and guest speakers that we ask to come in and talk to you. So there's some project management, time management workshops. We'll give you some information on how to plan your project. We've had former scholars come back and talk about how they were able to leverage their experience as a scholar in terms of the jobs that they got and how their careers have progressed. So there's kind of quite a range there. And then speaking opportunities and the conference that I mentioned earlier. So the eligibility requirements are posted on the website, and you'll encounter them when you're filling out the online application form. So the program is only open to master's and doctoral students. JD students are also welcome to apply. You have to be a current full-time graduate student in good academic standing. UBC Vancouver and UBC Okanagan students are welcome to apply. And if you're an international student, your study permit needs to be valid until at least August the 15th. You need a social insurance number, a Canadian bank account as well. A lot of the projects can be done remotely, but you must be physically located in BC in order to do the work and be employed by UBC. So it's not a problem if you want to take a vacation outside the province, you just wouldn't work at that time, but you do need to be located in BC or we can't hire you. Also, if you have another UBC job, your combined hours between your scholars project and your other job or jobs cannot exceed 40 hours a week. So application to the program is competitive. We get many highly qualified applicants for these positions, so it is in your best interest to follow the posted guidelines and write the most compelling cover letter that you can. There are lots of helpful resources online, so you can check out the UBC Graduate School website or the Center for Student Involvement in Careers within UBC, and then there's lots of other resources online. You can also make an appointment with the career advisors at the Center for Student Involvement in Careers if you want to get some peer feedback on your application. So if you're an international student and this sort of the Canadian context of applying for a job or preparing a resume might be unfamiliar to you, I do encourage you to spend a little bit more time doing some research and checking out the resources that UBC has to offer. So in your application package, we ask you to provide a cover letter and a resume for each position that you're applying for. You can apply for up to 3 positions. We're also asking for 2 references. The same 2 references can be provided for each of the 3 jobs that you're applying for. And yes, definitely follow the instructions in the online application form. So I'll go into a bit more detail about your application document, but first I'll just let you know that I am offering a resume workshop. Attendance is optional. The fact that you attend doesn't change the chances of getting a position. This is just an opportunity if you want to get a refresher or some suggestions on how to refine your application. This might be of interest to you. So your application package. So as I mentioned, I'm looking for a cover letter, a resume, and references. So a typical application includes a 1-page cover letter and a 2-page resume. Sometimes students prefer to submit a CV, but if you do, please pare it back to about 5 pages. The purpose of your cover letter is to really clearly communicate your skills and experience as they pertain to what's listed in the job description. It'll express your passion for sustainability or climate action, and it's going to tell us how your past experience has prepared you to meet the job requirements. So we certainly recognize that you're students. You may not have had the exact experience required for the position, but you likely have many good, solid, transferable skills that you've been able to develop in previous experiences and through your academic work at UBC. So be sure that you do speak to them and explain how they're relevant to the project. Lastly, a lot of people want to know who to address the cover letter, so you're welcome to address it to me. That's fine. You just can put my name and my title on that. I'll know who you're writing to. And then for your resume doesn't necessarily need to be customized to the same degree that your cover letter is. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but I think you should customize your cover letter for each of the projects you're applying to. But I think it is helpful to update your resume if it does support what you say in your cover letter, but it's not always necessary. The key in both documents is the cover letter and the resume is just be sure to check your spelling, check your grammar, make sure everything's accurate. Things not to put in. Sometimes people put photos in, and sometimes people provide their social insurance number. Please don't do that. Social insurance number is confidential, so you should hold off on providing that until you need to be talking about employment. And photos are not typically a convention to be included in a resume. Then speaking of your references, so we ask for 2 references. One should be a professional reference and one should be an academic reference. We're only going to contact them if we decide to hire you. So just to be clear, we're not looking for a reference letter. Instead, I'm just looking for the name and the email and maybe a line or 2 about who this person is to you. And you can put it as the 4th page of your document or tuck it in somewhere on your cover letter or your resume. So if you don't have a professional reference, do your best to provide a reference who can speak to the quality of your work. So don't forget that volunteer work and campus work all count. And yeah, I think that's all I want to say about this one. And don't worry if your reference is overseas or on a different time zone, that's fine. We can work through that. So please provide your application for each position as a PDF file, a combined PDF file. So the PDF is going to contain your cover letter, your resume, and your references for each of your preferred jobs. So you can prepare 3 different files. Do not include any writing samples with that. If you're asked for a writing sample, just take it with you to the interview. Don't put it in your the package. And also reference letters aren't necessary either. And the important thing to help me find you as I'm doing the shortlisting and everything is to make sure that you name your file according to the conventions that are noted here on the slide, but in the application form, which is I want the project number first and then your first name and your last name. It's fairly straightforward, but it helps a lot to have it done this way. You're going to, and this is a link to the online application form, it's also on the apply page. So as you go through the application form, you'll be asked to provide contact information and answer a number of questions about your eligibility. And then you're going to come to this question, which is asking you to rank order the projects you'd like to be considered for. So you can rank up to 6, but you're only applying for 3. In asking you to rank up to 6, it just helps me if I'm having trouble filling a position and you have not been selected yet. It helps me do some filtering and to find you. But that doesn't come up very often. It's just a backup. And if I do put you forward for one of the other projects, I will reach out to you first to make sure that you're still interested. And once you've completed that, you've uploaded your 3 files and you hit the last button, you'll see a confirmation page. You will also receive an email. I don't know how long it takes to get the email, probably a couple minutes. If you don't get it, it's possible that you've typed your email address in incorrectly, in which case you should go through the submission process again. But check your spam folder just in case it went in there as well. So what happens after you submit your application? So all the applications are reviewed and compared to the information in the job posting. And then a shortlist is created for each of the projects. If you're shortlisted, you'll get an email from me within about a week after the closing day, around February the 6th, I think. The shortlist is sent to the mentor after I've done all the shortlisting. The mentor gets the shortlist for each of the projects, and they in turn create their own shortlist. So they may choose to interview all of the people that have been put forward or only a selection. If they decide they want to interview, they will contact you directly to set up an interview. Once they've gone through the interviews and checked the references, they will make you an informal offer to let you know that they'd like to hire you. Sometimes they forget to do that, but one way or the other, you'll get a formal offer letter from me. And you have about a day to reply to it, confirming that you'd like to accept it. Sometimes students have multiple interviews and they want to know the results of an interview before accepting a job offer. If you find that you're in that position, please, and you've received an offer, please contact me so I can just make sure everybody knows what's going on and what the timing is going to be. And then once all of the positions have been filled, I will send out an email to everybody letting you know that, that we're done. So some of the key dates to be aware of is January 28th at about 11:59 p.m. Is when the applications close. That's a Sunday. And then a process of shortlisting the candidates takes place after that. And then approximately February 9th to 29th, most of the job interviews and job offers are taking place. Some will take place in March, but the bulk of them are happening in February. And then on May 1st, the program starts. We're still debating whether we'll have the orientation on the 1st or the 15th, but you'll get lots of advance notice about that. But the official start date is May 1st. The project work takes place in the 15 weeks between May 1st and August 15th. The mid-project check-ins take place in late June. And then in August 15th, the final report is due and the program ends. So that's all the administrative stuff, slightly boring, but lots of people want to know these things so they understand what they're up for over the summer. So I'm going to now turn the floor over to my guest speakers, and then got two groups. We've got the funding partners and the former scholars. And once my guest speakers have spoken, we will open the floor to questions. So for the funding partners, I have the coordinators from 5 of our primary funding partners who are going to speak first. They're going to tell us a little bit about the kinds of projects that they have on offer this summer, some of the outcomes they're looking for, why you might be interested in doing this, and what goals they're trying to achieve. So Tina, I'm going to ask you, oh, sorry, here's my list of guest speakers. I'll leave that up there. And then I'm going to ask Tina to start first. And maybe Tina will stop sharing so people can see your face. Hang on a second. Are you able to unmute? Okay, try that.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, great. Thanks.
Excellent. Okay, thanks, Karen. Hello, everyone. I'm Tina Earhart, and I coordinate the scholars who work for the City of Vancouver. As Karen mentioned, the City of Vancouver is the original partner with UBC on the Scholars Program, and we're really happy to see that it's expanded to offer tangible learning opportunities through a number of partners now. This year, the city has 17 projects that draw on kind of a range of disciplinary backgrounds and skills needed from applicants. But I will say that one thing that's common across all of the projects is that they're designed to support one or more of our strategic climate and social sustainability plans, the main ones of which are our Climate Emergency Action Plan, our Climate Change Adaptation Strategy, our Healthy City Strategy, and our Equity Framework. So the successful candidates who will work on our 17 projects this year will be making really valuable contributions to help advance climate and social sustainability work with the city. And we undergo a really thorough selection process to determine the projects each year and just make sure that we're putting forward really high impact projects. So you can be assured that the ones that you would be working on with the city really do make a difference here. So I won't run through all 17 projects because that would take a very long time, but I will give you kind of a sample of what's on deck for this year. So one project idea is to support Indigenous-led and Indigenous serving spaces and programs. We're looking for a scholar who can perform an environmental scan and literature review of urban Indigenous service delivery infrastructure. Next, in support of our climate plan and our equity framework, we're looking for a scholar who will conduct research to help improve accessibility at rapid transit stations and plazas. Third on the list I have here is also in support of our climate plan. We have a project to identify commercial buildings in the Lower Mainland that have replaced gas-fired equipment with high-efficiency electric or dual fuel equipment. and document both the retrofit process and the performance of those systems in order to create kind of a series of case studies that'll help others make similar transitions. And the last one I'll share is to help us adapt to climate change and the urban heat island effect. We're looking for a scholar who can research green rainwater infrastructure initiatives that can help us address this. So there are lots more that you can check out online, but as you can see, they're really, really diverse. UBC also has a diverse set of partners offering projects through the program, but why you might be interested in working with the City of Vancouver more specifically is that it's an excellent intro to municipal work. If you've ever thought of going into the public sector, you'll get to work with city staff and out of city offices and get really a taste of what the day-to-day work is like. You'll also build relationships with city staff, and we do hear many positive things from both sides about this experience. And the other thing is that a number of scholars do go on to apply for and be hired for jobs at the city down the road. And I'm actually one of them. I used to be a scholar in 2015, and it was a really great way for me to find out if I wanted to go into municipal work myself. Another thing I'll just add quickly is if you're planning to be local to Vancouver over the summer, it's also great because our projects will be local to you. So at the city, we recommend you spend at least 1 day per week working out of our offices, but you can also discuss this and agree on a schedule that works for you and your mentor. And the last thing that I'll just add about working for us is that our projects serve strategies. So again, we go through a process of selecting them so that they have the right focus and they give the greatest impact and also the most meaningful experience for you. So please, I hope you will check out the full list of projects and consider applying. And I'm going to hand it over to Karen again to give to the next partner.
Thank you very much, Tina. So I have Amy from Metro Vancouver up next. Amy, I hope you can still unmute yourself, and I will share the slides. You can't, huh? Interesting. Can you now?
All right, I think I'm good.
Okay, yeah, sorry about that.
No problem.
Okay, so thank you, Amy. So here's your first slide. Tell me when you want me to advance it.
Sure. All right, thanks, Karen, and hi, everyone. I'm Amy Tai from Metro Vancouver. I work with the Air Quality and Climate Action Department with Metro Vancouver, but myself and my colleague Kevin, who wasn't able to make it today, we coordinate the Sustainability Scholar Program on the Metro Vancouver side of things. Next slide, please. So first, I just want to go over what is Metro Vancouver, because we are different from the City of Vancouver. I know a lot of people might mix us up, but we do work closely with the City of Vancouver, but we do work closely with many other municipalities because we're a regional government and we include 23 member jurisdictions, as you can see on this map. So yeah, we're a lot more than just the City of Vancouver. We have we have almost 3 million residents in the region, and this makes up over half of BC's population. So as I mentioned, we're a regional government, so we deliver regional services such as drinking water, treatment and distribution, solid and liquid waste management, air quality and climate action, and management of regional parks, including Pacific Spirit Regional Park, which surrounds the UBC Vancouver campus. We offer a wide range of services, and our scholar projects actually reflect the diversity of the services we offer. Next slide, please. So this year we have 6 projects from various departments. The first group of projects, we have 3 projects from our Water Services Department. One project examines strategies, and another project examines technologies to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in drinking water services. The third project we have from our Water Services Department looks at current and projected agricultural water demands. And the next bullet point here is from our Solid Waste Services Department. So it focuses on reusable food service ware and just researching logistics on how to implement a reusable cup and container program. And then the last 2 bullets are the last 2 projects we have, and that's from my department of Air Quality and Climate Action. So one project focuses on visualizing and communicating air quality data, in particular on Metro Vancouver's website, called airmap.ca, which some of you might have checked out when we had wildfire smoke impacts and when air quality was degraded. So we just want to make sure that the website is user-friendly, and we're hoping the scholar can make some suggestions on maybe some improvements there. And the other project we have from our department is looking at emissions from off-road equipment, which and this will feed into our regional emissions inventory, which helps us track air contaminants and greenhouse gas emissions in the region. So those are the 6 projects we have on offer this year, and our projects typically help inform policy development, and they also feed into our larger research projects. And working with Metro Vancouver can provide some great networking opportunities because we do have a wide range of departments and positions here. So if you're interested in learning about a different department at Metro Vancouver, mentors have been really great with connecting scholars with people in other departments so that can learn about all of Metro Vancouver's services. And also, as Tina had mentioned, that we've also had a few former sustainability scholars join Metro Vancouver later as full-time employees. So being a scholar is a great way for you to get to know us, but we can also get to know you. So if your resume comes up across our desk in the future, we might be familiar with your interests and your experience. And just as an example, in our department of about 30 people, 2 of them are former sustainability scholars, and one of them I actually mentored in 2019, and she just started working with us this year. So it's great to have some scholars come back and work with us. So thanks for your interest in our projects, and we hope you'll consider applying to Metro Vancouver projects. Thanks.
Thanks, Amy. It's great to hear about new employees. So my next guest is Rebecca from BC Hydro.
Hi.
Thank you, Rebecca. Here's your first slide. So over to you.
Awesome. Thank you. If you could go to the next slide, that would be great, actually. Thanks. Yeah, so I'm Rebecca from BC Hydro's Sustainable Communities Program. We are one of the long-term funders of the Sustainability Scholars Program. And the way that our involvement works is a little bit unique. Rather than placing scholars directly with BC Hydro, we typically partner with local governments, Indigenous communities, and other organizations to support scholars that are embedded within those local governments and organizations. So this year we are supporting 7 projects, and I put them up on the slide so that you can see the breadth of the organizations we're working with and who we're supporting. Our projects this year include creating a tool to inform the decarbonization of public buildings with the Musqueam First Nations. We also have a project on creating an information and resource toolkit on climate resilient buildings for Indigenous housing with the Aboriginal Housing Management Association. And then with UBC, we're supporting a project that involves researching neighborhood scale, nature-based urban design solutions to address urban heat islands. With the Community Energy Association, we have a project on analyzing EnerGuide evaluations and creating emission reduction scenarios for residential retrofits. And another project on developing a buildings list to inform an energy policy reporting bylaw in Whistler, conducting research to inform workforce attraction strategies for residential retrofits with the Home Performance Stakeholders Council, identifying and analyzing potential solar sites in the Capital Regional District. So a range of different organizations that we're working with, a really wide range of different types of projects here represented. What all of these have in common is that they do focus on the really crucial work of shifting our homes, buildings, and vehicles to low carbon electric power sources and getting away from fossil fuels, and doing this in an equitable way. The research we're looking for might focus specifically within one community, but we're always looking for outcomes that are replicable for other communities, because at the heart of what BC Hydro does is we want to establish best practice policies and encourage collaboration between local governments and organizations. We have really found that this program is a key partner in helping research to get done that might not happen otherwise. And the projects that we support are also a really good way to get experience working with smaller organizations. And sometimes there can be a little bit more hands-on experience, a little bit of human connection that can happen when working with a smaller partner organization. And we definitely, in our day-to-day work, even within BC Hydro and in a lot of the local governments that we interface with, we interact with lots of people who are former scholars. So I'd really encourage you to check out each of those individual projects.
Thank you, Rebecca. I don't know if people care, but I will say that the Resort Municipality of Whistler project is being mentored by a former scholar who also did her project with Whistler and is now mentoring the project, which is always nice to see. My next speaker is Megan Badri. Over to you, Megan.
Thanks, Karen. Hi, everyone. This is Megan. I'm a research manager at UBC Sustainability Hub, and I'm navigating Pathway to Net Zero Embodied Carbon in Buildings project with my director, Angelique Pillen. Could you please go to next slide, Karen? Thank you. This project is funded under Climate Action and Awareness Fund by the generous support of Federal Government Department of Environment and Climate Change Canada, ECCC. The fund is directly managing by ECCC, and it aligns with the mandate of Net Zero Advisory Body, or NZAB, a group of Canadian experts that they are in regular consultation with the ministry to identify the pathways to net zero emission by 2050 goal. Could you please go to next slide? Thank you. Actually, this is a 2-year project, and part of its objective is to identify key challenges and barriers to implementing embodied carbon into building policy, and it's happening in the scale of BC. And we are looking to structure some immediate solution for some key challenges that we have identified through the project. And we are hoping to develop local and regional opportunity and collaboration to pilot some of these solutions. Could you go to next slide, please? Thank you. About the project, this project specifically started in April 2023, and we are navigating this project by the end of March 2025. It has different activities from policy review, conversation with regional government practitioners and researchers to identify what they consider to be challenge in this area. We run a series of barrier to solution workshops. Actually, we ran these workshops in fall 2023 to refine some key barriers and challenges and define some immediate solution based on these challenges. And we are right now in the piloting some projects that we are hoping to have them in a 1-year time frame. And also the last step, that is knowledge mobilization and documenting the learning material from the project. Next slide, please. And one important outcome that we had from this challenge to solution workshop was the idea of local scale innovation pilots with BC municipality. And we started developing this idea in collaboration with BC municipalities in a setting of sustainability scholar projects. Next slide, please. And we ended up in local scale innovation for embodied carbon reduction idea. It's an opportunity, as I mentioned, for working with different municipalities. And through this series of pilots, we are looking to incorporate local opportunity to address some gaps in embodied carbon policy. By the end of the project, we are hoping to synthesize and map the local results into a set of recommendations and even like proposal for provincial and federal level initiatives and policy accommodations. Next slide, please. And currently we have 5 scholar positions for summer with City of Vancouver, City of Victoria, District of Squamish, City of Nelson, City of Kamloops, and City of Richmond. We are hoping the successful candidates to get engaged in a really broad range of projects, and they will directly participate in shaping the regulation and policy within real world application. The scope in this project are so broad, and it is different case by case. For example, we have community scale policy review for district of Squamish, and they like the district hoping to embed the topic of embodied carbon into their planning, planning as climate emergency action planning. And also we have data analysis for the city of Nelson and Campus based on some collected project data for developing some toolkits for use of building stakeholder, and development of also the demolition bylaw for City of Richmond. And finally, embedding and implementing embodied carbon concept into residential stock in Victoria. There are lots of opportunities in working in this project, like hands-on collaboration with senior planners, networking, and you definitely will get a great set of skills within this project. And yeah, we really encourage you to consider applying for this 5 position. Thanks, Karen.
That's great. Thank you very
Yeah.
much, Megan. And next, I have Linda. Now, Linda, Senior Director of the Sustainability Hub. Over to you. Do you want me to turn this off so we can see your face, or do you want me to just...
Sure, for what it's worth. Thank you, Karen. I'm Linda. I'm lucky enough to work with Karen and Megan at the Sustainability Hub. This Scholars Program is really one of our flagship programs, as Karen has described it to you. So I won't go into that. I will talk about the 10 projects that are available this summer for the Fraser Estuary Research Collaborative. We're fortunate to have a grant from the Sitka Foundation, a local foundation focused on biodiversity. And this is the 3rd year of a project where they have funded scholars on a very diverse range of projects. You'll hear from one later, actually, from last summer, with the overall goal of protecting and restoring the highly imperiled and incredibly ecologically valuable Fraser Estuary. It's right beside UBC on our doorstep. It's critical for a number of First Nations, particularly Musqueam, but lots of others. It's an incredible salmon producing wild river of BC, and you know, home to birds on the International Pacific Flyway. So I'm sorry I don't have slides. I could have got some nice pretty slides of the estuary. There's a great range of projects there. I'll speak about just a few of them. One of the differences about being a FERC scholar is that you get to network with the other FERC scholars. So we have a few events during the summer where you can meet others, people from outside your discipline probably, also working on aspects of Fraser Estuary protection and restoration. So that's really a benefit, this networking opportunity. And the former scholars who've been involved have been quite positive about their experience. So this summer, and they're all with NGOs or Indigenous organizations. So that's the charitable money goes to fund the position for the benefit of people who wouldn't otherwise be able to afford it. So we have some repeat NGOs coming back this year. For the 3rd year, we have Rain Coast Conservation Society, World Wildlife Fund, Emergency Planning Secretariat, and there's just this wide range of projects. They have that FERC category listed on it. It probably will be obvious from the project description, but it does specify in the list of projects that it is a FERC project. So we're looking for students who are really passionate about this issue with a variety of skill sets, and you'll see that there's opportunities to identify salmon restoration hotspots along the estuary. opportunities to look at nature-based solutions, again, with a restoration focus, particularly with the backdrop of Canada's agreement to the new biodiversity goals of 30% protection of land and ocean by 2030, but also the really revolutionary BC-Canada Nature Agreement, which was just signed quite recently. There's an opportunity to really get involved with some cool researchers working at UBC through the Living with Water project. There's living dike projects underway down in Boundary Bay that are already in construction, and you could have an opportunity to look into those. There's policy opportunities, science communication, and even opportunity to work with an artists group, other sites for artists projects. Last year, a student worked on radio programs for one of this group's projects. And this year they're looking for a very creative idea about how to engage the public through different forms of art and public knowledge. And then there's a mini forest, the Miyawaki forests. There's one of those that's already growing out in Richmond, and one group is looking for a citizen science protocol to monitor the health of that forest. That's a pretty new and interesting idea. So lots of good possibilities. I encourage you to look at them and apply for them. Really happy to be here this evening to see this great turnout and to see the great amount of interest in this program. So I will leave it there.
Great, thank you very much, Linda. I'm going to share my my screen again. So now we're moving on to having former scholars speak about their experience. So I think I saw Mauricio on the call. There you go. I've got something weird going on with the mute, so I have to ask you to unmute and then you can mute. But what I'm asking our former scholars to talk about is their experience in the program. Any benefits you gained, any challenges you encountered, and some of the attendees might also be interested in any advice you have about applying or interviewing. So over to you, Mauricio. Thank you.
Hi, can you hear me? All good? Yeah. Yeah, so I was a scholar this past summer. I worked with Resilient Waters, which is part of the FERC group of projects that we just talked about. It definitely helped in terms of getting a feel of what the actual projects on the ground are involving the various municipalities. Resilient Waters worked with City of Surrey and with various First Nation groups and other municipalities as well. And you actually realize that it is a relatively small world out there and that people know each other very well. And so that really contributed to being able to network and build connections. And obviously, if you do a good job, people start remembering you, and who knows where that can lead. I'm still in my UBC program, so I haven't started applying for jobs, but I do think that it was a great opportunity to network and get to feel what the working conditions and the projects that people are working on outside of the university are. It definitely requires you to be relatively independent. In my case, for instance, we did not have a dedicated working space. So that means that all of my work was done remotely at UBC. I didn't have any office that I could go to. We met mostly online, and a couple of times we met in person because we had in-person workshops that were part of the project. But the bulk of my work was done virtually and just meeting over Zoom like once a week or so. That means that you need to be able to hold yourself motivated and accountable to get that work done. But I think it's definitely it's summer, so people sometimes have other priorities in mind. But and since people don't the timekeeping for like the amount of hours that you're working is up to you. You definitely need to be able to keep that responsibility taken care of, so to say. But it was a very friendly working environment, and I think I definitely developed some interesting connections. And I do not regret it at all, and people in general are very keen to offer support and throughout the whole process, whether that is meetings like this where you get advice on the applications and explaining the whole process, or later down the road with the mentors and people involved. In terms of suggestions made for the process, I would just say that while you're going through the interviews, don't be afraid to be as honest as possible with your limitations, whether that is where you are in your program, the tools that you know that you don't know, your availability. Sometimes people feel that, oh, like maybe I should keep this, like maybe I shouldn't mention that I want to go on holiday or something. So don't be afraid, because most people are this information that is relevant to them, and they want to know it so that they can see what can be done to accommodate that. It's not meant to cause any further problems for you. So just be honest, obviously in a polite and respectful way, about all of the limitations that you think might be present during your project. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mauricio, and some really good feedback there about being candid in your interviews. Most mentors are really keen to be able to support the students they work with, so it's not going to it's not necessarily a bad thing if you don't know everything. So my next guest student, former scholar, is Puya. So Puya, over to
Can
you.
you hear me?
Yeah.
Good, thanks. How are you? Yeah, hello everyone. Thanks, Karen. Hope you're having a great day. Yeah, my name is Puya. I did my second master in UBC and I'm graduated several months ago. I'm gonna share my experience, two great experience as a sustainability scholar. In first one, I worked with Vancouver Coastal Health Energy and Environmental Sustainability team. It was 2 years ago. I applied for that program and I worked in developing a framework for green procurement. And right after I applied for my second one, in the same team, I mean Energy and Environmental Sustainability team, is a team that serves 4 main healthcare authorities in Lower Mainland. So yeah, I got an offer and I worked on another project, which was qualitative, and it was a challenge for me because I'm an engineer. I did researches and quantitative researches, and it was really new experience for me to do qualitative research. But it was a great opportunity for me to learn. So yeah, I did that project. The challenge for me was, managing my time, because in last summer I had to defend my thesis. I had a revision paper, and I had to send the report to my mentor in the program. So yeah, it was challenging, but I believe it's possible if you can manage your time, put a priority for yourself. So yeah. And what I want to say is that, these two experience, this internship experience was a great opportunity for me to learn, to improve my knowledge, to actually master some soft skills, technical skills, and it helped me much to improve my knowledge in the field of my interest. So at the end, after my graduation, I started job search process, and finally I got the job exactly in the same team. And yeah, it's my second week and I'm excited about that. So I started my job in the same team as an energy specialist. So I would highly recommend you to go for this project, this program, if you are interested in any field, like, I don't know, waste management, transportation. It's a great opportunity for you to expand your knowledge, to improve your skills, and most importantly, to make connections with the expert in your field. So for me, it was great, it worked, and now I'm doing what I want to and what I'm interested to do. Thanks.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thanks, Puya. Congratulations on your new
you.
job. That's terrific. Okay, Alida, I have you next on my list. Are you able to unmute? Try again.
There we go.
There
I
you
think
go.
that's
Got it.
good.
Good, thanks.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. My name is Alida Uguma Thomas. I am a graduate student in the Masters of Public Policy and Global Affairs. I had the great joy of working with the City of Vancouver this past summer. So Tina took a lot of the things I wanted to say. So if you want to just refer back to the insight she gave you, I'll summarize it quickly as honestly saying that working as a sustainability scholar is one of the highlights of my graduate program. I really loved the opportunity to work on real life application of sustainability problems, to kind of work through the sticky questions of equity and justice as it relates in the sustainability policy space. And I loved getting to work at the municipal level and see what it was, kind of a picture of what it would be like to work in local public policy work. I would say that if you're looking for summer projects that are really focused on project management skills, if you thrive under the flexibility that comes with getting to make your own schedule and manage your own project, this is a fantastic opportunity for you. The flexibility of a part-time job allows you to take some summer classes or look at other opportunities at UBC or not, which I think is a huge asset as well. And my encouragement to you, both in the application process and in the work itself, is to maintain a posture of curiosity. I built really positive relationships with the team I worked with this summer. I've maintained some of those friendships to this point, and I think a lot of that came from asking questions, being really quick to jump into additional opportunities to sit into meetings and learn a lot about things both directly related to my project, but adjacent to it as well. So that would be my encouragement. Be curious, be bold with asking questions, and I'm very confident you'll have a positive experience.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Alida. And I have Zane next on the list. Over to you, Zane.
Hi Karen, how are you? Hi everybody. My name is Zain, and I was a Sustainability Scholar last year in 2023. I've just completed my graduation from the SEEN program, MEL SEEN program. I worked with Community Energy Association, and the project was funded by BC Hydro. I was fortunate to be selected in a field which was very connected to my past experience. And I was expecting it to be a piece of cake and I would easily do it within a couple of weeks. So I've got that experience. But what I realized was I had something new to experience. A simple thing for many people would be like taking a survey, but that process itself was a very good one for me. I actually got the experience to build on questions for my project, take the survey, get the results, analyze the results, and then prepare a report. So that was a new experience for me. And working with a non-profit organization, that was another experience. How they work and the industry, how it works over here in Vancouver. So that's something which you can look forward to, though you might have a lot of experience. And the other things, as far as time management is concerned, I mean, it's important that you manage your time because you've got your studies, and give as much time for your studies as well as this project, completion of the project. You can assign certain meeting hours with your mentor, and honestly speaking, you can be very free with your mentor and open as clearly, I mean, they understand your other hurdles which you're facing during your day-to-day life, and they will help you for sure. And if you do have questions, you can ask them. If you don't understand something, that's a very good, it's a good thing that you clear it with them. One good thing which I realized was understanding the project itself, and it's good to go through your project plan over and over again, because everything is there and what's expected from you. So that helps, and discuss this with your mentor on a frequent basis. That's going to help you. Other things, you're going to have exposure to different software tools, or networking with the industry experts, get to know about sustainability. And now that I've completed in December, I completed my program. I've got an opportunity for another organization which is looking at my experience, where I've worked with non-profit organizations. So that has benefited it overall. And I'm still in touch with my mentors, and in fact, they have committed to give some references also if needed. So that's a good thing with the Sustainability Scholar. So all the best if you're going and applying with that.
That's great. Thank you, Zane. And it's really nice to hear your perspective. I know the Masters of Engineering Leadership students are super busy. And it's nice to also hear that you appreciated the challenge of stretching yourself into new areas. So thank you for coming tonight. Next,
Thank
I
you.
have Michael on the call. So over to you, Michael.
Hi, everyone. My name is Michael. I'm from Colombia, from South America, and I'm a PhD student in IGS Global Studies at UBC Okanagan. And I currently live as an invited guest on the traditional and ancestral and unceded territory of the Silk Okanagan, which is Kelowna. So, okay, so what it was like for me, I worked for the Indigenous Research Support Initiative, the ERSI, at UBC Vancouver. And my job was to develop an inventory of UBC's climate research partnerships with First Nations in BC. And so on this journey, which was amazing, I was encouraged by the team at ERSI to complete a cultural safety training. And basically they supported me on that, and I was sponsored by them, which is, it's a famous cultural safety training called Sanyas, Indigenous Cultural Safety. And apart, actually, with the support of the Sustainability Scholars Program and the Pacific Institute for Climate Solutions, I had the opportunity to go to Vancouver and to participate in a training workshop provided by ERSI. So that was when I was recently starting on this job. And at ERSI, I felt like I was in a safe space, as it was my first job outside of academics in Canada. So in my case, as an international student, if you're an international student as well, I would really encourage you, and especially those whose second language is English, to apply and participate. So this program for me is a safe learning space in which our prior knowledge is highly valued, which it's not usually the case. So in my case, having worked in armed conflict and with campesinos and indigenous communities back in Colombia, this was recognized as a relevant experience in this program, and as well as with ERSI. So this is, as I was saying, this is not always the case when one migrates to another country. So I really encourage you. And so the next thing I would like to say is that in this project, I was free to create the work plan and suggest research inputs. So basically I had the full, they were really open with me, and I had the support of the ERSI team to contact professors, researchers at UBC in Vancouver and Okanagan. And then I had the opportunity to interview them. So I was allowed to create the instruments, the qualitative instruments, to recollect information. So some of the qualities that a person should have to succeed as a scholar, I would say 5 of them. Maybe there are more, but in my case, the ability to propose creatively. So my ideas were always considered and valued, which was amazing again. Time management. So in my case, I had another part-time job during the summer. So what we did is that sometimes this can be a solitary research work. So we organized like a weekly follow-up meeting, and then we set up an online work session to work at the same time, and just to hang out, basically, to have the opportunity to chat while we were working, because I was here in Kelowna and they were in Vancouver. And the third one would be interest in research. The fourth one, I would say, is writing skills. Although writing is a skill that you keep learning all your life, this is an opportunity to mix research work with the tasks of the working world outside of academia. So in my case, we wanted to use a clear language that could reach various audiences. And the fifth one, I would say, is sensitivity and empathy when approaching research topics, as well as to approach interviewing people with an open heart and mind, basically. And so, yeah, I would say like participating in this program has opened the doors for me in several ways. So on the one hand, this experience allowed me to understand the Canadian working world, which is new for me. But on the other hand, it is a highly quality work that I know that my next employers will take into account. And finally, I think it is a work that allows me to contribute to the most relevant social, political, and economic discussions about sustainability, which I'm interested in, on issues such as climate change, First Nations rights, reconciliation, land rights, and so on. So that's what I would say today. And don't be afraid to ask questions if you don't understand anything. I would say everyone here is kind, and everyone's been amazing. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you, Michael. I didn't know that you had those open working sessions. Sounds like fun. Okay, well, thank you, Madison, for your patience. My last guest, former scholar speaker, former scholar speaker, since you've had a couple of opportunities, but over to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much. And really, I I just say who I am. I'm a PhD student in the School of Community and Regional Planning. This is my third year, and yeah, so I did the program twice because it was just such an excellent program. And I will not take too much time to echo all of the sentiments of the other scholars, but I think that they have said it better than I can. But a few things that I'll add is that this is one of the best run internship programs that I have ever encountered. And so, a nod to Karen and the whole team at the Sustainability Hub, as well as the mentors. It makes a very big difference. And, I've done other internships in my undergrad, or, I've been a part of running internship programs in jobs, and none of them really move very smoothly. And this one is fully seamless from beginning to end. And so I just think that, that's something to consider when you're thinking about your summer work is, are there going to be any logistical headaches? And the answer is no. So that's one thing to add for sure. Yeah, and I think that what everyone else has said in terms of the benefits is huge. I worked one summer with TransLink, which was excellent, despite being the tail end of the COVID summer, and so we were fully remote for that one, but still an opportunity to go out and collect data, out on the road and everything, which was really exciting. And then my last summer was with the City of Vancouver, which was just an excellent experience. And the advice to reach out to those people that are working around you is so huge. And I was able to meet people outside of my department from number of different areas within the city, and across the different partnerships that I think I will carry forward as I'm looking forward into my job experience. And then just the last piece in terms of advice, when I'm thinking about applying, I agree with all of the sentiments before, but also to add, definitely hit some of the points that are in in the job posting about the skills that are important. But if you feel that you have adjacent skills, I would also, not hesitate to highlight those, because, for example, in the past, I found a lot of some of the skills that, I was keying on were some of the GIS pieces, but I also have a lot of programming. And so that ended up being really helpful, despite it not being necessarily what the mentor, was maybe expecting to be able to get. So if you have some of those sort of adjacent skills, maybe consider highlighting those. And I'll probably stop there just for time and everything, but thanks for the opportunity. Yeah.
Oh, great. Well, thank you so much, Madison, and thank you very much to all of my guest speakers today. So that's it for the presentations, and I guess I'd like to open it up to anybody who has questions to either put them in the chat or just raise your hand and ask a question. There are some comments in the chat already. Not too many questions, some good advice from Jimmy Ho, talking about being honest and aware of your limitations during an interview, but also being able to speak to how you will mitigate or work around them is really good. Indra, did you have a question?
Yeah. Hi, Karen, and hi, everyone. So I think it was a beautiful presentation, and thanks for the all the resource and information. It's pretty helpful. So my first question would be like, these are the projects. I think I have seen all the list of projects, but do we get to work on the project individually, or I'm going to co-partner, or work with somebody who might also join? Like, is it a individual project-based workshop, or?
Yes. You do have a mentor at the partner organization who's available to provide advice and to help support you through the project, but you are the person doing the project. So this year we only have one project per person. So what you see in there would be just one project for you to do. We've spent a lot of time working with the mentors as part of scoping the projects to make sure that the things that they're asking for are reasonable to be completed in the amount of time that's been indicated. So, if they maybe look like a lot of text on the page, rest assured that we have spent time making sure that it's not a burdensome, overwhelming project to complete.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a question in the chat about payment. So I'm not too sure what you mean by a UBC package, but basically this is paid employment. So you would be a UBC student employee, you'd get a paycheck on the 15th and the 31st of each month. And by the end of the program, you would have earned the amount that's listed in the, the amount that's relevant to the number of hours that you work. So if Juliet, if you have more specific questions, I'm happy to answer them, but hope that comes close. You also have a question.
I can clarify.
Go ahead. Good. Perfect.
So basically I have a package from the UBC, which usually comes out of my supervisor's grant and my TA-ship. I have a guaranteed salary, and I'm wondering if I did this, if that would just go into my salary and like reduce what comes out of my supervisor, reduce the TA-ship, or it would just be additional, like if it's separate.
Yeah,
from
good question. I understand now. You need to talk to your advisor about that. I have had some students that their advisors did sort of claw back their RA funding. So I basically you should ask that question. But as far as we're concerned, we don't really get involved in that. We will just pay you. But if there's some trade-offs, you should just make sure that everything's clear with your other funder or advisor that way.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
And then you also had a question about managing internships on top of field work. I've had a number of emails outside of this asking me about field work. So I think you just need to be realistic. You are expected to be able to do the equivalent of 250 hours of work over the 15 weeks of the summer. We anticipate the average is about 17 to 20 hours a week, but there might be some weeks where you work more or some weeks where you work less. So some people have been able to fit field work in, but limited, like a 2 weeks worth of field work. So hopefully that answers your question there. Dimith, you have your hand up.
Hi, thank you for the wonderful session, and thank you for all of you to give us a good comprehensive idea on what it should be. And I mean, I already heard some speakers talk about this, the limitations that you have. I'm just want to go more comprehensive into this because there are some projects that ask you like wide range of methodologies and all. So as an example, I will talk in a very basic level. So if my expertise is on qualitative research, and if I see the project is the project overall is okay for me, but if they methodologically asking something quantitative, should I apply that mentioning my limitations, or like I should completely ignore that project? Like, did you get?
I think I did. It's just how it's sort of like, what's your strategy for applying for a job if you don't have that exact experience? Is that basically what you're looking at?
I know there are a lot of projects to select here, and some of them I can see like very directly qualitative, but there are some projects that I would love to have it, but like in the list of required skills, I can see that there are some things that I'm not familiar with.
Right.
So in that case, this may be very primary, sounds unprofessional, but I mean, I don't want to, just apply for something that will waste time of everybody, right?
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So we don't expect that students know everything about these jobs, and you may not be familiar with a subject, for example, but you may be able to do all of the work underneath it because you, as a UBC student, you've got good research skills, you've got good analytical skills, you can do good qualitative or quantitative work. So I think that you should choose the jobs based on what's going to give you the best gains and give you the best benefit from doing the work. I would discourage you from applying for a job that's completely out of reach. If you're a music student and there's a highly technical programming project, I know that's a fairly extreme example. Unless you actually have programming, that might not be the best fit, and you might not be as likely to get it because there probably are students who do have programming backgrounds. So I hope that answers your question. There's a little bit of judgment in there. But either way, make sure that you do a really thorough job in your cover letter talking about your transferable skills. So if you don't know exactly how to do that, what do you know that will help you get through that?
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Gladys, do you have a question?
Yes. Hi, Karen. Thank you for your excellent presentation. I just noticed, I saw from the website that most of the project are like 250 hours, but I think there's a few over this time limit, and like for the 250-hour project, they are considered as on-campus like work. But is it the same for the few projects that over the time limit, or those are like on-campus project as well?
Yeah, they're all, if you have restrictions in your study permit, they are considered to be on-campus work. And the hours don't have any bearing on that. However, some projects actually take place off campus. You may need to go out to the city of New West if that project's of interest to you, because there's some field work there. And if you're applying for a City of Vancouver project, we really hope that you can go and sit in the office at least one day a week so you can benefit from the experience. But as far as the study permit requirements, all of these positions count as on-campus work. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, so I just have a follow-up one. Does that mean like it's not necessary to apply a co-op visa for that?
These are not co-op positions, so no, you don't need a co-op visa.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, but you should talk to your co-op office. There's some stuff I don't know about co-op, so if you are registered as a co-op student, you should just double check that. But as far as the Scholars Program goes, a co-op visa is not required. I have questions in the chat. Someone wants to know about do interviews usually happen in person, virtually, or both? It really depends on the mentor, but I think a lot of them do take place online these days. If you're called in for an interview, you can certainly ask. And if you, for example, would like to meet them in person, I suppose and they're offering you a Zoom, you could ask if an in-person meeting is an option. And then there's a question about the references. About whether two professional references would be stronger than academic references. Yeah, I think that's totally fine. You can provide 2 professional references, or you could provide 1 professional and 1 academic. We prefer not to have 2 academic references. Just because academic doesn't always give a good the same representation of the kind of work that you do. Hopefully that answers your question, Kaylee. And then I have a question from someone about how to tailor the resume and the cover letter for different positions. So if I'm interpreting this question correctly, you are customizing your application package for each of the 3 different positions that you're applying for. So that means you would do potentially 3 different cover letters and then save them in the separate PDFs and attach them. So hopefully that answers that question. And then there's a question about tips for international students who don't have any Canadian work experience. How do you ensure your application is still strong? That's a pretty big question. Some of the basic things I can say is make sure that you thoroughly read through the project and envision how your skills would be suitable for that project, and then write about that in your cover letter. But I think probably my best tip there would be to actually go to the Center for Student Involvement in Careers and take a look at their resources, and maybe see if you can book an appointment with one of the peer advisors that work there to give you even more advice. Come with a draft of your cover letter and your resume, and you probably can get some really good support there. I'd do that sooner rather than later, because I don't know how busy they are. I don't know, Michael, if you're still on the call, or I guess it was Michael or Zane, but as international students, if you had any maybe tips about how to ensure the application is still strong. If you're an international student, you don't have any Canadian work experience. No, you're not able to. Oh, sorry about that. I clicked a button about unmuting. And
Okay,
it's-
I'm here.
I don't know. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, good.
Go ahead.
Oh,
I was just
Michael,
gonna say I'm also I'm not a Canadian, but I found that, you know, giving a little bit of a description about what that experience was that might translate into the Canadian context can be really helpful.
That's great.
Yeah, I would say something similar. So in my case, I had a previous experience back home. So what I did was like to make my CV to make it match with what they were looking for. So for example, this was not the only one I applied for. I applied for like 3 or 4 different projects. So maybe, I don't know if that's a tip, but if you think you can, you have like you can apply for more than one, just do it. That's what I did. So that will give you more opportunities. That's what I did in my case. And I matched my previous experience, my skills, even though I've never worked before with First Nations in Canada. I had some previous experience with Indigenous communities in my country, so that worked. What else? I have worked with qualitative data or with qualitative research. I use that as a transferable skill, and with research skills, writing skills, everything helped. Actually, I think everything you've been done. I think sometimes you think that you don't have enough experience, but you're a graduate student, so you've been studying for more than 15 years, you know, since kindergarten. So you know how to read, how to write, how to think. You've been studying enough. I think you know better. So you know a lot, and that's a matter of how to make it work on a document, basically. And the other thing is that if you get a call, just you can prepare your interview. That I would say that's the most important part. Prepare for the interview. Yep.
Yeah, that's good advice. I think some people are taking advantage of Zoom to have some of their script ready to go. So there's some other advice from Zane about highlighting your transferable skills, which is also what Michael was referring to as well. So we're really close to the end, and I've had people on this call for a pretty long time. So I think I should let you go. I guess I just want to say thank you very much to my guest speakers for coming and sharing about your experiences and talking about your projects. And I want to thank all of the potential scholars who've been on the call for coming and taking the time to be interested in the program and learn more about it. And I really do wish you all the best of luck as you prepare your resumes and your application packages. And I look forward to meeting many of you in person as scholars this summer. So thank you very much. We'll stay on the call if anyone wants to ask me any specific questions, but otherwise have a wonderful evening and good luck with all the next steps. So thank you.